As far like as Afiya is concerned, we don't actually have we don't medicate anyone. We just, if people have medication, we allow them to use it as long as it's something that they keep with them on their person. Because obviously some people do come and stay that have substance use history or issues, if you will. But we don't actually make it a necessity. So it's something that people choose to do. And even as far as substance use, we don't discourage people from using substances. We just ask that they not have them at Afiya on the property, and that they not use anything on the property as well, or like their behavior, if they should partake in anything, doesn't disturb the healing environment as it is. So we try not to restrict anyone in that way. And as you said, as far as like lack of structure in that way, sometimes it is hard for folks because of things like that. Some people prefer that there be some terms or like conditions in place, so they're regulated in that way. But and we have experienced that as well. Folks just not needing that at that time, needing like that lack of structure at that time. So we do have that too. We encounter those same things, but we don't force anyone either way. We just support the decisions that people make as far as whether or not they'd like to take medication in general.
So, one of the things, that really strikes me about all this is for someone who's not familiar with kind of this way of thinking in this world that, those in this group are, is, does this really work? People think they have to, that, society has to control these people and tell them what to do and make sure they, are restrained and all this. So when you talk about this, I think a natural reaction would be, does this really work?
People say that it works. People say that this works for them. People, there are occasionally people who, even though we try to explain to them really thoroughly, who we are and what we do beforehand, they arrive and they're disappointed that there's not groups, so there's not more structure. But otherwise, I'd say a solid 90-95% of our, the surveys that we get back are people saying, hey, this really worked for me. I'm really glad that this was here and not some alternative. So I think the proof's in the pudding as far as that goes. I mean, it's sometimes when the question is, does this really work? Right? It's like, what kind of information do people value? What kind of information are people looking for? Are there a lot of these highly structured studies that measure certain metrics over time? Not so much right now for peer respites. Maybe someday there will be more. But in terms of people's actual individual lived experience, people keep coming back. We're always full. People come back over and over and over again because there's something there that is really working for them.